Hello and welcome to another edition, another episode of this assembly with your host of Yahuwah, Soya. And I'm going to start this off by saying that I hope you have have read the first edition of the This Assembly newsletter. Covered the topics of love and feelings, and I'm going to put it to rest with that newsletter. So if you haven't read it, take a look at it. It should be posted at this time on this assembly channel in the form of a video. So pause it, take your time, read it, understand it. And in the meantime, let us get back into this study. Now, we left off in Bere'Shiyth chapter 15, verse 17. And today we're going to pick it up, verse 18. And we're going to thank the Father. I'm going to thank the Father for giving us this beautiful day, for giving us these wonderful words, the experiences, and pray that we're able to learn from them and grow in the right direction in the name of his son, Yahusha. Now, let's pick it up with verse 18 through verse 21. In the same day, Yahuwah cut a covenant with Avram, saying, unto your seed have I given this land, from the river of Mitzrayim unto the great river, the river Perath, the Kenayim, and the Kenazim, and the Kadmonim, and the Chittim, and the Perizim, and the Raphaim, and the Emarim, and the Kenaanim, and the Girgashim, and the Uvasim. Yahuwah cut a covenant with Avram. Cutting covenants was an important way to establish an agreement in this period, because if one party did not honor their agreement, their life would be cut off. After slaughtering animals, that represented them sacrificing their lives to establish integrity and trustworthiness. The two parties would walk between the two halves in a macabre rite to finalize the agreement. It was likely that they did not wear foot coverings during this. Their feet and ankles would be bloody and sticky at the conclusion of this. Probably dirty too, depending on what kind of area they did this on. Now, I would think this symbolized what would happen if this agreement was violated. The violator would be slaughtered and his remains would be walked, trampled, stomped into the earth and out of existence. And the remaining party will wear his bloody remains on his feet for all to see and know the deed had been done. Now, in this instance, Yahuwah took it upon himself to fulfill and hold both ends of this agreement, or at least it seems that he did. Although there were two things moving between the slaughtered animals, I believe they both represented Yahuwah, thereby indicating that if he does not keep this agreement, this covenant, he would kill himself, or maybe Avram would kill him. I don't know. That's interesting. Who else had the seniority, the authority to do it other than himself? There was no one. It was said that he cut a covenant after he cut a covenant. Yahuwah too repeats his promise to give this land to Avram's seed. In repeating these things, he is showing the importance of what is spoken. It will come to pass. He could have said it once, and that would have been sufficient. He takes the time to repeat himself. This was really important. This concludes with Yahuwah promising Avram and his seed all the land he has showed him. It is unclear whether or not he is now awake or still dreaming. What is certain are the lands he and his seed will be inheriting. Whether he was asleep or awake, it was indeed another good day. And I'll see you next time in chapter 16, and that time is now. I thought you was getting away with a short broadcast. Nope, not today. All right, chapter 16, verse 1. Now Sarai, Avram's woman, bore him no children, and she had a handmaid, a Mitzri, whose name was Hagar. Now, that is to say that her handmaid, this bondwoman, was from Egypt. All right. Verse 2. And Sarah said unto Avram, Behold now, Yahuwah has restrained me from bearing. I pray you, go in unto my maid. It may be that I may obtain children by her. And Abram hearkened to the voice of Sarai. Of course he did. Why did he listen to his woman? He was disobedient because he listened to his woman. We just had this conversation a few scriptures ago. Now here we are again. Between personal ambitions and lust, patience is seeing the blessing that was promised by covenant has gone to the wayside, and man will make happen that Yahuwah said that he would do. This seemed to be set up from verse 1 to emphasize that Sarah had guilt about not giving Abram an heir or a child at all. This has been bothering her, and she now feels so guilty. She feels so guilty that she has to do something about it. You know, it's like kind of like a hysteria. She's getting hysterical about this and acting out irrationally. She has to do something about it. But what could she do? She has no power. There is no artificial insemination at this time that they can do. There is no surrogate mothers. What could she do? Maybe there is a surrogate mother, her maid. Oh, now she has a handmaid who belongs to her. She could do it. It would be just like Sarah herself bore the child, since she belonged to Sarai. Verse 3. And Sarai, Abram's woman, took Hagar, her maid, the Mitzri, after Abram had dwelt 10 years in the land of Canaan, and gave her to her man Abram to be his woman. Sarah took Hagar. To me, that says that Hagar did not necessarily agree with this arrangement. She may have even resisted this arrangement somehow. Nevertheless, her will was not her own. She was essentially a slave under the control of her owners. The interesting thing is that it seems to have taken 10 years to get to this point. Is this to say that they tried to conceive for 10 years while in the land of Canaan? Or perhaps that Avram was away in that land for 10 years, and upon his return, he was given Hagar. Either way, for sure, Hagar did not do this willingly. She was forced into this, at least initially. She was taken, then given. That does not suggest a willingness on her part. Verse 4. And he went in unto Hagar, and she conceived. And when she saw that she had conceived, her mistress was despised in her eyes. Funny how easy it is to conceive with the wrong person. This farther says that Hagar was forced into this, because for Hagar, it was even worse that she became pregnant. And she immediately blamed on Sarai. And now Hagar hated Sarai for doing this to her. After all, Sarai forced it despite her objections. Now, we don't really read about her objecting. I guess that wouldn't have been politically correct, or at least inspiring to put it that way. But nevertheless, it says that Sarah took her and gave her to be Abram's woman. So, read between the lines a little bit. Verse 5. And Sarah said unto Avram, My wrong be upon you. I have given my maid into your bosom. And when she saw that she had conceived, I was despised in her eyes. Yahuwah judged between me and you. Sarah is placing the blame of this on Avram. This reads that Hagar has probably let her anger at Sarah be known to her. Hagar did not want to be Abram's woman. She did not want to be pregnant by him. And because of Sarai, she was both. She must have did and or said some things to Sarai to express her contempt and Sarai's bother. The guilt of what she had done to Hagar was tearing her apart, or at least bothering her. She is so bothered, so riddled with guilt, that she is putting it all on Avram. She did not like the way she felt after having endured the words and actions of Hagar. And she is being so dramatic about it that now she brings Yahuwah into it. She vainly used Yahuwah to push Avram to feeling guilty about his role. She wanted Avram to feel responsible, solely responsible, for how this all went down. In effect, she said Yahuwah's name in vain. She used his name for her own purposes. She used his name to validate her feelings, to lend weight to her claim of Avram being solely responsible, and to make Avram feel bad for now sour relationship between her and Hagar and the entire situation in general. She tried to use Yahuwah to put stress on Avram, undue stress. Well, maybe it's due a little bit. She used Yahuwah's name in vain. I repeated that because that's what happened. His name. God is not a name at all, let alone Yahuwah's name. The Lord is not a name at all, and even more, not his name, not Yahuwah's name. She took the name of El Elyon and repurposed it to mean what she wanted it to mean. No, no, no. Exclamation point, exclamation point, exclamation point. Verse 6. But Avram said unto El Sarai, Behold, your maid is in your hand. Do to her as it pleases you. And when Sarai dealt hardly with her, she fled from her face. Thankfully, Avram did not buy what she was selling. He was not her fool. That word but at the beginning of the sentence says that Avram quickly dismissed the notion that he was responsible for her actions. He told her that Hagar was her responsibility, not his. What happened to Hagar was Sarai's fault, not his, even though he was the one that raped her. Go figure. He was not taking this thing to be his own. It was hers. He did, however, give her authority to deal with the situation however she chose, to do what made her feel good. This was about Sarai's feelings, about her acting out emotionally because of her feelings. So, she took this authority and ran with it. She considered her feelings and began subjecting Hagar to all manner of evils. She treated her so badly that it made Hagar hide from her. She could no longer bear to see or be seen by her. It was an extreme situation and it was skewed against Hagar. Hagar was powerless to defend herself. She could only hide for temporary relief of Sarai, who had now become like the proverbial albatross around her neck. Verse 7. And the angel of Yahuwah found her by a fountain of water in the wilderness, by the fountain in the way to Shur. The angel had to find her because she was hiding. Now, I want to find what exactly an angel is. I have yet to find it. In my studies, which are limited compared to some others, I have yet to find what or who an angel is, whether it be a personality, a job description, or a different type of being. I have yet to find out what that is. All right, continuing on. Hagar must have been doing a good job of hiding, since the angel had to look for her. She was probably avoiding contact with any and everyone, but the angel proved more than a match for her and found her. She was perhaps found by the fountain because she was thirsty. She was probably thirsty from all the running and crying she could have been doing as a result of this situation she found herself in. She most likely did not want to be a slave. Who would want to be property? But that is what she was. She did not want to have relations with Avram. She was a Mitzri and he a Canaanite, and he already had a woman. Lastly, she did not want to be pregnant by him. She could have dreamed of having her own man and giving him a child. Now she is pregnant by her mistress's man. What man will want her now? What Mitzri will want her now? How could she even meet a man while she belongs to Sarai and has a child with Sarai's man? The impact on her was profound and the emotions deep, the feelings deep. She had probably done a lot of running and a lot of crying. Some believe that this unnamed angel was a pre-incarnate visit by Yahushua. They incorrectly call him Jesus. Here's the problem with that. Yahushua is the son of Yahuwah, and at this time, Yahushua was an El. Now, They believe that the angels are created beings, meaning that they were made by Yahuwah at the time that they believe he created and made everything all by himself right after he decided to exist, or whatever other inexplicably unfounded belief they have. If you do not yet see the problem, here it is. How could this unnamed angel be the son of Yahuwah? That would imply that Yahuwah created his son. By very definition, that notion is preposterous. Secondly, if he created his own son, then he is not naturally his son, and therefore is not entitled to inherit his father's throne. And neither do he share his father's blood, his DNA. He shared none of the biological attributes of his father. Perhaps more importantly, they are essentially saying that Yahuwah has lied. A stepchild, adopted child, a child by law is not technically your child. Yahuwah masters technicalities. Why would he promise Avram, a living soul that he created, his own son from his generation to be his heir, and not have his own son from his generation? That does not add up. Yahuwah produced his son in a like manner as we produce ours. Sex with a female El, and Eloah, as I have found out, his woman. He does not have a stepchild, adopted child, or whatever that he calls his son, masquerading as his natural child, but have not natural claim to his title. If you do not know, this is the Torah, i.e. the teachings of Moshe. While Moshe may have written these teachings for us, he was taught by Yahuwah. These are essentially the teachings of Yahuwah. Why would he teach you that his son was an angel, a being that he created alongside man? It makes no sense. And it makes no sense to continue because we are over time, and we will pick this up in the next episode. Till then, I'm your servant, Yahuwah Sayah. Enjoy this good day.